All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory be unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakar Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well. And peace, salutations, and blessings be unto the hopeful elect, pushing his truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the globe, in the sincere hopes of being delivered in these last days. All right, this is the brother Yakanan from the GMS England branch, and I want to do a brief video based upon this episode of the Super Friends, and this is a cartoon from 1973. I believe it ran from 1973 to the 1980s, mid 1980s, if I'm not mistaken. And in this episode, we have an example of predictive programming, okay? Because they actually show you the agenda, that's playing out upon the earth right now, all right, concerning this New World Order system, the beast system that the wicked elites of Esau Edom are pushing and establishing upon the earth. AI, getting rid of jobs, okay? You had all of this talk of cutting down the working, week to 4 days a week and 3 days a week, and you've had talks of universal basic income, okay? And, trials for universal basic income are underway upon the earth in various different nations. And they're looking to solidify, these experiments in society on a permanent level, okay? And they're already telling you, via Musk, Elon Musk, that we don't need workers anymore, okay? Because AI is going to take over everything, okay? You have particular industries that are at risk, because of AI. You have, authors that are, suffering because AI is able to write, a whole book, beginning, middle, and end, in a matter of seconds, okay? You have factory workers that are losing jobs, due to AI. And the list goes on, okay? So these things were laid out and planned by the wicked elites of Esau Edom a very, very long time ago, okay? And this clip right here that I'm going to play, is proof of that, okay? So without further delay, I'm going to play this video and stop it at particular points, as the Spirit wills, and, we'll get into a few scriptures.
Holy letdowns! This floor is an elevator!
Just relax, everybody.
Welcome, welcome. I'm Professor Goodfellow. It's an honor to meet you all. Please accept my apologies for the little pranks I played today.
Pranks is hardly the word, Professor. You've got the whole country in a turmoil.
The government is very concerned about your little pranks.
I had to do those things to prove to the government that the geek works.
The geek? What is that?
The world's biggest computer. I want to donate it to the government as a gift for the benefit of all people.
What does this computer do?
By remote control, the geek can perform every job that is done by men and women. My purpose is...
So this computer, as he just mentioned, is able to perform every job, all right, that man and woman, is currently doing, okay? And the name of this episode is Professor Goodfellow's Geek, all right? That's the system that, as it's named, in the episode, the Geek system. Now it says Professor Goodfellow invents the Geek, the GEEC, and it stands for Goodfellow's Effort Eliminating Computer, to free mankind of all physical labor, brain work, and responsibility. Okay? Now let me click on this so I can read the whole thing. And already, this should ignite red flags, okay? Because if you've been in tune to what's happening with AI and the kind of reports that's coming out concerning AI, now it says they want to free mankind of all physical labor. Now we know that that's the plan because Elon Musk has been pushing that, for the last few years, saying how, very soon, due to AI and, machinery, AI bots, so on and so forth, jobs are going to be a thing of the past, okay? And that's why the earth is going to need, a universal basic income, all right? So that's the physical labor part. Now it says brain work. So they want to free mankind of brain work, having to use your brain. Now there's various different articles out there going into, the dangers of AI and how it affects your brain over time. Because people are utilizing it to do things that they should be using their own mind to do. Okay, so it's making people more lazy. Just like, the phones and, Google and, Google Maps and so on and so forth. These things make you lazy and it nullifies your brain to the point where, you're just flicking through apps and, as they call it, doomsday scrolling. All right, so all of these things have an effect on your mental health. Okay, now of course, we utilize, the internet, but we utilize it for edification. All right, we utilize it to bring out the word and to enhance our teaching abilities by going into history, so on and so forth. Okay, but the way people in the world are using it, and there's even, particular memes on it, it's just, killing their mind and rendering them useless, man. And that's why these people are not going to be needed. Now it says to free mankind of all physical labor, brain work, and responsibility. However, when this miracle of the ages computer goes out of control, it takes the combined efforts of all the super friends to repair the computer and return the world to its normal state. Okay? So that's what this episode is actually about. All right? Now let's go back to the video. Let me go back a little bit.
For the benefit of all people.
What does this computer do?
By remote control, the geek can perform every job that is done by men and women. My purpose is to free mankind of all physical labor, brain work, and responsibility. You mean no one would have to do any work? That's impossible. No, that's why I brought you here. To show you it is not impossible. Please, follow me.
Hey!
You know what? And from there, let's go straight to it. Let's get Psalm 64. Because this is heavy, all right? And this just shows you, the time that we're living in. They're getting ready, to fulfill and to complete this New World Order system, all right? Now, this is Psalm 64. And we'll start from verse 6, all right? And it says, they search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep, okay? And now this is talking about the wicked elites of Esau Edom that rule this world in secrecy and in darkness, okay? Beginning with the ruling, banking elite families, all right? The Rothschilds, Oppenheimers, Rothschilds, I said them already, the Rockefellers, Oppenheimers, Rothschilds. Who else you got? The Gettys, okay? You got an array of ruling elite banking families that rule the world in secrecy, okay? Now it says, both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep, okay? And this predictive programming, all right, that you're seeing, through this cartoon is proof of that. And it shows you how deep their mind is in wickedness concerning, rolling out this agenda. And it also shows you how patient they are in, perfecting, this system that they've been working on for the longest time, all right, for decades, okay? But right now, we're in a time where we're seeing, it come to life, in society. You're seeing how they're trying to do away with cash and make everything a digital system. We're seeing how they're purposefully pushing AI and, making AI take over all of these industries. That's all by design, all right? Because they want to crash, the economy. They want to render, everyone, useless in society, because that's part of the Great Reset, okay? And then when they turn everything back on again, for you to have access to anything, what's going to be required? That MOTB. The Revelation 13 and 16. That's going to be required if you want to, be a part of society, and if you want to be a part of the grid, all right, the grid of Esau Edom. Okay? Now it says, but Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded, so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. Okay? And again, this is an example of them making their own tongue fall upon themselves. All right, they show you in the past what they're planning, for the future. All right, they show you in Terminator. All right, a lot of these films from the 70s and 80s and cartoons and so on and so forth, they envisioned that in the year, 2020 to 2030, that the world was going to be a total unrecognizable and different place. Okay, that's how many of these films, show you the future. All right, they'll show you in the distant future, 2025 to 2030, and you have the agenda 2030. That's not by coincidence. They want to have this all concluded and finished by 2030. Okay, which really, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Lord willing, the Lord is speeding up the time anyway. Okay, so that could happen this year. It could happen next year, where that MOTB is made mandatory upon the earth. Lord willing. Okay, but we're only 4 years away from 2030. Okay, and if the Lord, has it where we're here until 2030, you already know them 4 years is gonna completely fly by. Okay, because the Lord is speeding up the time. All right, because as it tells us, let's get it right quick. For the elect's sake. Now, this is Matthew chapter 24 and verse 22, right quick. And it says, and except those days should be shortened. All right, what days? The days that we're living in now, all right, in the midst of the end of the world. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Okay, so if Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai didn't shorten the days, shorten the time, all right, then no flesh will be saved, because there's all kind of research that's being conducted by different people showing you that this AI is out of control, showing you that if AI is left to its own devices, it's going to cause complete mayhem and destruction upon the earth, to the point it's gonna take everybody out, man. Okay, this is the kind of data and information that's out there, but who's really controlling this? All right, Esau Edom is controlling all of this mayhem, and he's doing it for a purpose, so he can input his new world order system upon the earth, so he can have full control. Okay, but this man is a fool. He is unwise, so he doesn't understand that his own invention, all right, is going to end up destroying him. Okay, and the key invention that's going to be destroying him in these last days is the ICBM missiles. Okay, as pursuant to Isaiah 54 and 16, the Lord said he created the smith and the waster to destroy. It's the Lord that put, the spirit upon these, Edomite, scientists, to create that, waster to destroy, which ultimately is going to destroy them. It's going to annihilate them, their own self. Okay? So the Lord is going to disappoint the devices of the crafty in these last days, as it tells us in the book of Job. All right? Now let's head back to this video. Let me fast forward it a bit.
Professor, why do you call it the Geek?
Well, its full name is Goodfellow's Effort Eliminating Computer. GEEC. Geek. There it is, gentlemen. The Geek. Holy brainbusters. It's gigantic.
Very impressive, Professor.
I'll show you how it works. This control bank operates all types of transportation. Everything from bicycle to spacecraft. Communications. Telephones, television, everything. The Geek is programmed to handle all business matters. Buying, selling, advertising, filing, typing, bookkeeping.
Buying, selling, advertising, bookkeeping, everything is going to be processed through that supreme system, all right, that they already probably have built. You know, they've already got all of this stuff. You know, all of this stuff is already prepared for the people to put you in that complete, you know, digital prison. Okay? And again, you know, what's going to be linking you to that prison is the MOTB, the mark. They're going to have full control. They're going to be able to, you know, tap into your mind, tap into your thoughts, you know, tap into, you know, your feelings, tap into what you're likely to do and what you're not likely to do. They want to have full control.
Fantastic. These controls can run every factory machine in the land. No need for factory workers. Wow.
Farming, eh? I guess the Geek will run the tractors and let the farmers take a rest.
They deserve it. Everybody does.
So they said the Geek is going to run things and it's going to let the farmers take a rest. Isn't that happening upon the earth? Ain't the Bill Gates of hell, you know, buying up all the farmland in Babylon the Great, which is America? Don't you have, you know, farmers, you know, protesting throughout the four corners of the globe because they're being, you know, shut down and prices, you know, are sky high and they're being strategically engineered out of business so they can't function. All of these things are happening. All of these events are being engineered upon the earth right now as we live and as we breathe. No coincidence.
Deserves a rest. That's why I built the Geek. Since the beginning of time, men and women have had to work hard every day to survive. But now, with the Geek in control, nobody will have to work. Not even housewives.
What will people do all day?
Oh, why, just sit home in their geek-built houses, eat geek-prepared meals, and spend the whole day watching movies and sporting events.
So he said, what will people do all day? He basically said that it's going to be at home, you know, watching TV, being entertained, okay, bread and circuses, and you'll be eating prepared meals. Okay, these are all things that they're proposing. You will own nothing and you'll be happy. You'll be on universal basic income. You'll be at home. You won't have a car, right? You won't have a vehicle, okay? Because everything is going to be on a rent basis. You won't be taking no planes, okay? If you have low social credit score or low, you know, carbon credits or both. All of these things are a reality that they're actually looking to implement in these last days.
On their geek television sets.
But that means actors and athletes will still have to do their jobs.
No. The actors and athletes won't be real people. They'll be electronic images programmed to go through the motions of a play or of a ride.
Actors and athletes
In their geek-built houses.
Now that's heavy because she said, okay, if no one's going to have to work, but what about the actors and athletes that provide the entertainment? Now listen to what she says.
Eat geek-prepared meals and spend the whole day watching movies and sporting events on their geek television sets.
But that means actors and athletes will still have to do their jobs.
No. The actors and athletes won't be real people. They'll be electronic images programmed to go through the motions of a play or of a...
Now, ain't that happening now? Okay? You're not going to need, you know, actors and athletes for entertainment, all right, in the flesh. Because through AI, you can program AI to, you know, embody, you know, a particular person, you know, Tupac, you know, Biggie. You got AI videos of Tupac and Biggie, of Bob Marley, you know, people that have died, you know, gone back to the spirit realm. But through AI, all right, through the, you know, the false miracles, the left-hand miracles of AI, you're able to bring them people, you know, back to life, okay, in computer form. And they can entertain people because you can program them to make new music. You can program them to make movies. Okay, you got all kind of clips out there of Tupac and Bob Marley walking together, and you got Biggie. Okay, well, anyone that's died, you can bring them back, you know, in digital form through AI. And again, this is from 1973. All right, so the mind is deep.
variety show or an athletic event.
Hey, watch himself playing a football game that he never really played.
Oh, yes, exactly. No one will have to wear himself out doing a job of work. The geek will do it all.
Well, how about us school kids, Professor?
Aha, let me show you. Every child will receive school lessons at home on his Geek TV. There'll be no need for schools or teachers.
No schools?
No teachers?
Wow, groovy!
It's a miraculous machine, Professor. I'm greatly impressed.
You know something, though? Even if I complain sometimes about homework, I really enjoy school. I'm going to miss going to classes, being with my school friends.
Gentlemen, I think Wendy has just made a very important observation. She has shown us the basic fault of the geek. I know you mean well, Professor, but your computer can be a bad thing for people.
That's right. Everybody, even young kids, should have responsibilities.
I agree. It's good for people to work, to use their brains. If they don't, they'll have no purpose in life.
But Mr. Huggins, the government must accept my gift. It'll be the greatest thing that ever happened to mankind.
Professor, I'm afraid I agree with the Super Friends. The government will not involve itself in Project Geek.
All right, then.
So they're acknowledging in this cartoon, all right, that it's a bad thing and ultimately it's going to destroy the people. Okay? But yet still, this is what they're pushing in these last days. Okay? And this is what's, coming to life, in the system that we're currently living and breathing in, man. So that just goes to show this wicked and evil agenda is still going to go ahead, even though they know it's wicked and it's evil. All right? Because as the scriptures say, Job chapter 9 and verse 24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, and he covereth the faces of the judges thereof. So they're still going to go ahead with this wicked and evil plan because it's their job. All right? It's their job, to actually fulfill this in these last days, man. And they have no choice but to fulfill biblical prophecy. All right, as it's written, Isaiah 55 and 11, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth, and it shall not return unto me void. Okay, all of these things that are happening, all of these things that are transpiring, at the end of the day is biblical prophecy. So there's no, getting around it, man. It's going to happen. It's going to be fulfilled in these last days. Okay, now this is Micah chapter 2 and verse 1. And it says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. Okay? So this is the evil, all right? This is the iniquity that they're working, upon their beds. All right? This is what they're so aggressively trying to bring to pass in these last days upon the earth, which the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, is going to allow them to a certain point to introduce this system and have it running, upon the earth. But like I brought out, the Lord is going to be shortening the time for the sake, of the elect. Okay, so as the scripture tells us, when he's about to fill his belly, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai shall cast his wrath, down upon him, roughly paraphrasing, man. So this is the times that we're living in, all right? We're not ignorant of Satan's devices, his evil schemes. Let's keep our eyes peeled, in these last days. With that, Lord willing, this lesson has been edifying. And until next time, I'll say shalom.